All right, so the other day we talked about making a little teapot. I rolled out a small slab and I cut out the disc using just a roll of tape. And then I made some coils. I showed you guys how to use the extruder in the back. You could, of course, roll those by hand, but I used the extruder. And I stacked up 3 coils, okay? Now, I intentionally did not finish it. In fact, part of my role here is to show you how things look. Not everything is perfect along the way. Part of doing art is things are gonna look a little messy at times. So it's kind of helpful, I think, for students to see my process and doing a piece with you guys so you can see it. So this clay has sat out. It's not sat out, it's been in a bag for 2 days. So it has firmed up just slightly. It's kind of tightened up, if I would say anything. So I'm gonna start by coming through with a little rubber rib, kind of softening up the clay, filling up these outside areas, okay? Some of you guys might consider trimming the base. So now is usually a good time, or in a day from now, it's a good time to trim it. So I'll show you guys how to do that. Okay, this is a turntable. This is a Shimpo, it's called a banding wheel. Banding wheel is a type of turntable, okay? It's similar in the sense of a pottery wheel because we're trying to get a very uniform piece, and this helps us do that. And so my recommendation, and it's gonna feel odd for some of you guys, but my recommendation is to work standing up because you have better leverage over the clay if you work standing up. You're pushing down on the clay. You have much better control. Okay? And so some people really like working on a turntable, maybe even more than working on a pottery wheel. Okay, you have a couple of tools in your kit. This is a loop and ribbon tool. So loop and ribbon tool. The ribbon tool is a smaller one. These tools are going to allow you to get the base trimmed out. So here's a piece where the base is already trimmed out. So what I want to do is just remove a little bit of clay down in here, if that makes sense. All right, and in order to do that, I've got to keep my hands steady. Okay, and this is true if you're learning with the pottery wheel. It's the same type of thing. So I'm going to put a little stand here so I can rest my arm, so you guys in class can see how I'm resting my arm. And then I'm going to turn the wheel, and when I turn the wheel, I'm going to mark where I want to inset my cup. I want a nice even circle all the way around. So we rolled out a 1/2-inch slab, so I'm not taking that much off. I'm taking like maybe 1/16 of an inch of clay. It's not a ton of clay. All right. And it's just control. So if you can see where my arm is rested on this little box here, that's helping me keep my arm steady. If that makes sense. I trim in. And this is how you make a foot. We talked about this. If you have a coffee cup or a teapot or anything that you're going to put a hot liquid in, if the piece has a little foot, it raises it off the table, and your liquid that you're going to put inside will stay warm longer. Does that make sense? Maybe? No? Yes? Okay, and I can go pretty fast with this. I can practice my DJ skills. Just kidding. Nobody likes my corny jokes. All right. I'm going to smooth it out with a fettling knife here. All right. And you're learning the basics of how you would work on a pottery wheel. Now, some of you guys have already tried the pottery wheel. But if you haven't, a turntable is a good way to learn. Gives me basically a bottom that, you know, has a little bit of a personality to it, I guess. All right, I'm ready to flip it. And I'm gonna add some more coils, okay? All right, so the other day when we added the coils, I did not score. I only slipped because the clay was soft. I was putting soft clay on soft clay. Today, this clay is soft, but it's not as soft as that first day. It's had a little bit of firming. So I need to not just slip it, I also want to score it. All right, so I'm going to go around, and scoring again is not just a tiny little scratch. It's more of a groove. You're trying to create a softened area where that soft clay can kind of go in. If you do not do this after the clay is sat overnight, even though it's been in a bag, then your teapot will come out of the kiln. There'll be a hairline crack right there, or they'll completely separate. I've had people come and they get their teapot out and they have 2 halves or 3 halves. That's really sad. After spending 3 weeks on something, and then like you get it out and you're like, oh, Mr. Landreau, the tea is getting all over the table. That's not fun. All right, so now I'm going to slip it again. So I slip, score, and then slip again. I've got some fresh coils that I just made on the extruder this morning. So they're fresh, so I don't have to score those. Just have to score the slightly dryish clay. All right, and this is about the middle of my belly of my teapot. Okay, so you can use a wood stick to compress. You know, I want to get that clay into that groove that I just made. So, you know, I'm not messing around. I don't want to have anything come apart in the kiln. I don't like that. I don't like to spend time on something and have it come apart. I want it to be done so it stays together. So a little paddling, control paddling helps. Okay. All right, let's do another coil. So I'm about at the middle. I'm going to start coming in now. So you start at the bottom small, you get bigger, and then you get back and you start getting smaller again. Now, your form might be different. I'm doing just a standard sort of little round little teapot shape form. Okay. Sometimes it's nice this end of those coils, just slip and score it. It's a better connection. So when you're smoothing, one hand supports, one hand smooths. Let's spritz it just a little bit, just to make things go faster. Okay. I'm gonna have 3-4 fingers inside, and then I'm gonna take my metal scraper and I flick the clay and fill it in. Okay. And I think what will happen is I will do these 2 rows today. Tomorrow I'll do 2 more rows and close the top. And then next week, we'll do the handle, we'll do the spout, we'll do the gallery, we'll do the lid. It might take 2 more weeks. Usually this is about a 3-week project. And I usually, like I said to you guys before, this is usually an advanced project, but I think you guys are ready. Your skill level is there. When I'm smoothing the inside, I put one hand on the outside to cradle, and I put one hand on the inside to push out. And I'm using this little wood rib. Instead of support it. All right, and it came, you saw that end of the coil came apart? If you see that happen, fix it. Don't let that sit, because clay sort of has this memory about it, and if it remembers something, it kind of keeps going back to that. So fix it when it's nice and soft, first day, first time you put it down. Don't wait to fix something. If you see a mistake, fix it early. I'm gonna allow that to dry. I'm gonna let it dry before I mess with it. All right, do a quick spongy. And I still have more work to do, but I can be patient about it. One of the things that you'll learn with this, if you're patient about it, it's gonna have better results.